Hi everyone, Salesforce Admin Training Day 20. Let's see today's agenda. We'll quickly go through the previous session overview and we'll talk about the creating a profile. What are the different steps to create a profile and how to edit the profile? What are the things are available in order to avoid the profile and profile view. Differences between the user and profile. Differences between the user, profile, license. And we'll talk about one assignment. And then we will see the permission set, how to create a permission set. What are the properties of permission? Properties of permission set. And then we will talk about the profile versus permission set. And permission set group. How to create a permission set group. What are the properties of permission set group? And then we will talk about today's interview question. Now, what did we learn in last session?
Standard profile, custom profile.
Increase user standard types of profiles.
Right.
Deletion of profiles.
Delete user.
Standard profiles.
Navigation steps for the profiles.
Yeah.
Right. So we have seen how to freeze a user, how to unfreeze a user, and what will happen if we deactivate it. The deactivating the user, why can't we delete the users in the Salesforce? And then we have seen what is the profile, what are the different properties of profile. And we have also seen one of the use case of creating a profile. Right, so whenever we are creating a profile, last time we have created the profile, which is the name is Tata Sales Admin. This is the profile which we have created. Whenever we create a profile, while creating the profile, the first thing is that we have a session settings. Now there is a session settings which are available. Now let's click on the edit. So we have a session settings. So if you scroll down, so there are few session settings. So session settings are basically it sets the how many minutes or hours of inactivity. That means when the Salesforce should go on inactive phase. When the Salesforce should go on inactive phase, you can decide it either minutes or hours. If you want a 1 hour, 30 minutes. If you want a 2 hours or a 1 hour, 30 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever the timeline is there, you can set the session timeout after 1 hour. That means I wanted to session out this particular session from the completely log out. So completely log out. So when you refresh it, it will directly says that you need to enter the credentials. You need to enter the credentials. Now, without entering the credentials, you cannot set anything. Without entering the credentials, you cannot log into the session. So this talks about the session settings, right? And then we have a password policies. Now, I think last 2 days back, we have also seen the password policies. If you search here, password policies, right? This is the org level password policies. Whatever we have seen, that is the org level password policies. But in case if you wanted to set profile level password policies, sometimes password policies at the profile level will be overwriting the passwords at the org level. Let's say that for this particular profile, for this particular profile. Now I wanted to change this minimum password length should be, let's say 3. Minimum password length should be 3 and the no restriction. Now, if I set up this, now in case any time this, whoever is the user is assigned to this profile, if they are trying to re-log in, then, or they are going to reset the password, then what will happen is minimum password, it will ask as a 3. Whereas org level, it is a 8. But again, profile is overriding the org level. So whoever is the users that are assigned to this particular password, now this password will be, they have to enter the password minimum length is 3 characters. So password policies are specifies the password requirements with the password session settings for the user assigned to a profile. Now, profile password policy settings override the organization-wide password policies for the profiles user. In case if you do not set the password policies at the profile level, so what will happen? By default, organization-wide password will get applied. If you do not have any specific password policies at the profile level, by default, organization-wide password policies will be applied. Now, in case new profile password policies for existing profile users when they reset their password. Now, in case there is a already user is assigned, there is a user is already assigned. And when they assign the user, now you are resetting the password. Now you are resetting the password. When you reset the password, so what will happen is whatever the latest changes are there on the profile level, as per that latest changes of the password policies, it will be applied. That means they will be, system will be asking them to reset the password as per the profile password policies. So take a notes of it.
Hi, Swapna.
Hi.
Yeah, I have one doubt over here.
Yes.
Like this session timeout and the lockout effective period. What is the difference? Like,
Lockout is, it's like a, you are keeping on open. Okay, so this is you
okay.
opened it. So
Mhm.
sometimes what happens is automatically when you your session, you are out for the some break time. So what will happen is at the back end, it says that this user is still working on it. Assume that you are making a changes on the code level.
Okay.
So when you are making a changes at the code level, in between, you did not save the code and you went out for some break. So in that case, it will make sure that it is session is that whatever you are editing it, it still says that, okay, this user is still editing. So it will lock the user on that particular, whatever the action you are doing it, there it will lock it. When I say session out, it will not lock out, it will not lock the user. Simply it will session out from the system. Whatever you are doing it, it will disconnect everything.
Okay. Okay, got it. Thank you, Swapna.
Yeah. Take a notes of it. Just let me know once you are done.
You are not sharing the slide, Swapna.
Oh, sorry. Take a notes of it and let me know once you are done. Taking the notes of it. Okay. So as we have already seen the password policies of the org, so let me give you the assignment. So we have a password policies on the org level and password policies at the profile level. So assignment is set the password policies, set the org-wide password policy, as, let's say, minimum password length, as 8, and then password complexity is must include the alpha and numeric character. Password complexity must include the alpha and numeric character. Okay, and then at the profile level, yesterday you might have created the profile, right? So for that profile, set the password policies as minimum password length is 3 and password complexity is no restriction. Assign this profile, assign the so what was the profile that you guys have created yesterday? Or last time when I gave the assignment, what was the profile? Sorry?
Data. Data.
That's one I have mentioned. I have created it in the class, but the one which I gave the assignment, right? The one which I gave the assignment.
Didn't give, madam.
Okay, I have not given. Okay. So let's say that I'll give the assignment. Now the assignment is create a new profile, CEO read only. Now let me give other. Now create a custom profile which says that license is Salesforce. You need to use the Salesforce license. You need to use the Salesforce license. Salesforce license and create a profile name, internal admin. This is the profile name. Right, license is Salesforce license and profile name is internal admin with the Salesforce license. And set the password policy as a password length is 3 and the password complexity requirement is no restriction. And assign this profile to one of the user. If you have a user, assign this. Otherwise, you need to create a user. Now, when you assign the user, provide the valid email. Provide the valid email. So that you need to reset the password for this. So first time when you try to log into as this user, you need to set the password. Right, so that time it should ask what are the password, whether it is asking the org-wide password policy or whether it is asking the password profile level password policy. Observe it and put the observation notes. Note down. When you assign the profile to the one of the user, how it is the password is reset, like password is taking the org wide or a password is taking the profile level. So you need to note down the observation. Of password policies. Take a notes of it. Done taking the notes.
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay. So let's move on. So that's the password policies which is available on the profile level also. Now, when I click on a edit button, what all the things can we see? What all the things can we see on the profile level? Now, if I click on the edit button, the first thing it is going to show me that I have a flexibility to update the custom app settings. Custom app settings, we can update it, and there is a tab settings. If I wanted to change anything regarding the tab settings, we can change it. Also, we can modify the administrative permission. I'll come to this administrative permissions and general user permissions. Then we have a standard object level permissions, right? So standard object level permissions also we can update it, and the custom object also we can make a changes. Let's assume that now this profile is assigned to one of the user. This profile is assigned to one of the user. Who is that user? Let's click on this view users and let's see who is the user, which is a Virat Kohli. Now I have logged in as a Virat Kohli. Now this is the Virat Kohli user. Now if I go to the, let's assume that this user have a full access to modify anything. Assume that account object, we have renamed the account object to clients. Now let's assume that in this account object, we have a details. Now everything they can modify it. It's similar to the system admin. They can modify the details, right? Let's assume that I wanted to make a changes. Now I do not want this user should not have a edit access to the active. This user should not have a edit access to the active field. Now the user is able to edit and update the information, right? If I click on a save, the user is able to update it. But I do not want this user to be updating the active checkbox. So if client says that this user should have a similar to the system admin access, But only the restriction is they should not have a flexibility to decide whether account or a client is active or not. Now, how can we do that? We need to go to the profile level. Now, whatever the profile is assigned to that user, we need to go to that profile. In this profile, right now we are looking at the fields. So fields on the account level. Let's say that I'm going to make a changes to the account fields, field level security, account field level security for a profile. Now, what is the change that we have to make it? Now, the change that we have to make is they should not be able to see they should not be able to edit the active field. That means they have a access to the read access, but they should not be able to edit. Now, if I uncheck this, ideally, they should not be having it because this is the same profile will be assigned to the user. Now, I have removed the edit access. Now, I have removed the edit access on the active field. Now, if user is trying to edit the account field, if user tries to edit the account field, they should not be having the edit access onto the active field. But here we are still able to see the active edit option on the active field. For the active field, they are able to see the information. Now here click on the details. Now they can see here active and they still able to see the edit checkbox, right? So what is the reason? The reason is when we created this profile, that time what we have done is we have copied the existing system admin. We have copied the existing system admin profile. So when we copied the existing system admin profile, by default, they are going to get everything, all the access, they are going to get it. Now, if we want to make a changes to this, now we already made a changes at the profile level, edit access, which we have already removed on the field, right? Apart from that, we should also do one more thing. Apart from that, if you are creating the profile, which is similar to the system admin, and if you want to remove the access for few fields, like they should not be editing the fields for the edit, or they should not be able to delete, or they should not able to delete the object, modify the things, right? If we want to restrict a certain level, then along with that unchecking the one, we have another option which is available, edit read only option. There is a edit read only fields. You need to uncheck that. So this is available at the administrative permission. For system admin profile, administrative permissions are full access they have provided. Full access they have provided it. Right? So if you are copying the system admin, on top of it, you are modifying any access, then you need to touch this administrative permissions. Now, in this administrative permissions, the one which we have to remove is edit read only fields. You need to remove this. Now, let's say here I click on the save button. Now, so what it does is, whether it is read only, what is that option is doing it? If you still have a read only access, you just have a read only access, but still the user will have a edit access. Though you have given the read access at the field level, but user is going to get the edit access on the field level. The reason is administrative level, we have a edit read only fields. Now, if you uncheck that edit read only fields, now go back to the user, click on refresh. Now go to the details section. Now, if you see here, active still enable. Did I not edit it? Details, read only. Now did I say? Let's refresh this. Control F, edit read only. It's done. Then I'll make a changes to the another field. Okay, let's open the active account. And then edit. Let's say I'm going to remove the annual revenue. Annual revenue, I'm going to remove it. Click on save. Now user will be having a read-only access for annual revenue and the active checkbox. And the active checkbox. Now let's go ahead and see that. Let me log out and log in back. I need to check the user credentials. Users. And here, this is the username. Now let's go to the client. That is the account. Click on this detail section. Now annual revenue, the edit option is not available. They cannot edit it, right? Now active checkbox also, they cannot edit. Right, they do not, I cannot see inline edit option. If I click on a edit, if I click on edit, now do I have a access to the annual revenue? No. Do I have a access to the active checkbox, active field? No, I do not have a edit access. That means this user, we have removed the edit access. Right, so whenever you copy the system admin profile, just make sure that you are unchecking that particular edit read only fields. So though you have written the edit access here, you need to remove the checkbox and the profile level, which is a administrative level. Which is a administrative level, you need to uncheck that. So administrative functions are like whenever it's a overall, like whenever you wanted to perform any other action, let's assume that, let's go to the administrative. Now let's assume that we are having the, let's say there is another one which it says modify all data, right? So if you check this, by default, it will allow you to modify the information. By default, it will allow you to modify the information. Similarly, we have a view all data. So nothing but you can, whether you have a view all option is available on the object level or not. If you enable this, you can modify everything. Now, similarly, if you wanted to cross verify Lightning console user, like a Lightning experience user, right? These are administrative part. Any administrative part, like if you wanted to give the report dashboard edit access or not. So if you do not want them to edit the reports or dashboard, then you can uncheck this, right? So these are the few administrator which we can perform it at the profile level administrative permission. These are the where you can manage the reports, reports dashboard, overall the read level, not to the specific to the object, but overall org wise, if you wanted to remove the edit access, if you wanted to remove the modify all data or the org level view all data. So these all information it is going to check, and you wanted to have a Lightning experience user or not. Right, so this is at the administrative level, we can modify it. Now let's assume that we have another one which is called as a general user permission. General user permissions are, for example, let's say let's say here. Now, if I go to the Virat Kohli user, now I'm into the Virat Kohli user. Now, if I go to the lead level, now if I open any lead, now we have a option that I can convert the lead. We have a option to convert the lead. Let's assume that client says that this particular user should not have an option to convert the lead because they are the right people to decide whether the lead should be converted or not. They are not the right people to decide whether they are right people to decide whether they can convert it or not. So that means client does not want this convert button should be visible to this user. In that case, what we can do is on the general user permission, we have one of the option which is called as a convert lead. Convert leads. So uncheck this convert leads and then save this. So that means I'm going to remove the convert button on the lead object. Now let's go ahead and check that. Now, if I go to this, now I cannot see the convert button. Convert button is not available. Right? So these are the couple of things which we have to cross verify. If we want complete org level, I wanted to restrict, then we have to go to either administrative permission or a general user permission. In general user permission, do you wanted to manage the flow? Like a lightning flows are there, right? So if you wanted to manage the flows or a leads, or do you wanted to have a mass email? Sometimes users or client has to send a mass email. Do you want this user to allow the mass email flexibility or not? Or report builder, do they have to, should they see the report builder option or not? Do they have access to run the flows or not? And transfer lead, transfer case. So if these are at the org levels, it's not a specific to the object, it's a generic information which if I enable this or if I disable this information, it will be applicable for everyone. It will be applicable for everyone. Now, do you want the user to manage the cases or articles, right? So these all information, if they wanted to see the event logs, there is a logs information will be there. Now, do you want this user to allow to import the leads? Right, so these are the generic ones. So if you want this information to be available for this user, if client says like this user should not have access to import the leads, they are importing the leads from the CSV file or somewhere from the outside, so it should not allow them. So go ahead and restrict it. In that case, what we can do is we will uncheck this. We will uncheck. Now, in case this user should not have access to the like let's say here topics, right? They are adding the task, they are logging the call, right? And they are clicking on the email, right? In this case, I do not want this user to log a call or a task should not be there. In that case, remove this edit task, edit topics, edit events. They should not be having this information. They should not be having this information. And for example, I do not want them to send any emails, right? So in that case, you can uncheck the email part of it. Right, so allow sending the list of the emails, it's already unchecked. So you have to cross verify that whatever the email options are there, if you do not want this user to be creating the emails or tasks, if you do not want to send it any task, in that case, just remove the, let's say that I'm going to remove the manage public class email template. They should not having the email template, classic email template option, which we have already seen. Now, if I click on a save, what will happen? The user will not be able to see the classic email template. Similarly, let's say that this user is, now if I go to this user, let's go to the user. Now, if I go to the setup, Now Virat Kohli is able to see all the users and all the profiles. Virat Kohli is, if this person searches the users. Now if I click on a users, now this person is able to see all the users, right? So let's go to this, click here, the classic. Now this user is able to see all the users. Let's assume that I do not want them to see all the users. I do not want them to see all the users. Now, in that case, we have an option which is available in the so there is an option, all users option, which is available. View all users, view all profiles. View all users, view all profiles, which is available in the general administrative permission. In the administrative permission, this is available. If you uncheck this, what will happen is the users will not be able to see all the users and all the profiles. Now let's click on a save button. Let's refresh. And this is going to take some time. But ideally, that is the scenario. So view all profile, view all data. So those all information they can see. Right. So everything in the record level, everything at the record level, whatever the activity that you wanted to perform, or a detail section, or some buttons which Salesforce is providing the buttons. If you want some changes to be happen, now here in the activity, I cannot see any information because I removed the edit task, edit topics, email, everything I have unchecked it. So right now the user will not be have access to click on the anything, new topic or nothing is available, right? Because we have unchecked the topics, events, all of them we have unchecked it, right? Let's scroll down in the general permissions. Edit events, edit tasks, edit topics. This is the what we have unchecked it, and the email part is also we have unchecked it. So when I uncheck, the user is not able to see couple of options. So basically profile is the one, it will decide what user can do, whether the user can create a activities in the record level, whether user can enter the data in the record level, whether user able to convert the leads or not, right? So right now I have removed the convert option is not there, but still it is showing the converted. But what will happen if I click on a converted? Will it convert? Will it convert? Really, it will not convert. This is just a status change. Right now the status is open, not contacted. If I click on this converted, select a converted status, it will change to close converted, but it will not actually convert it. When we convert it, what will happen? Lead will be removed from the UI. At the backend, account, contact, and opportunity will be created, right? So that time user cannot see the lead, the one which is converted. But here it is not yet converted. It is just change the lead status from whatever the status it was there, from that status to it changed to the closed converted, but it is not actually converted it. Right. So whatever the user can do or whatever the user can perform at the record level can be decided by the profile. Any questions on the profile level? Now there are few more options also we have. Now let's say here login IP ranges. If you wanted to track the login IP ranges, right? Specific the hours, for example, let's click on here new button. Now login IP ranges. Now I wanted to log in the whoever is login, whoever is the team members are there, all the team members are either between the, I know the IP address, the IP address is 0.0.0 from this to the end IP address is 255.255.255.255. Right, this is the end IP address. Now this is the start and this is the end. Right, so login IP range. Now only the users. Now, for example, I have assigned the 10 users to this profile. I have assigned the 10 users to this profile. Now this is the profile. Now we have assigned the 10 users. Now out of these 10 users, assume that only 5 members are actually logging in between the 00 to 255. Whoever is not in the IP address range, right? So these users, if they are in the range of IP address range from 00 to 255.255.255.255, if they are in this range, then only these users can connect the system, right? So this is the profile, whoever is assigned to this profile. Now these are the users list. User 1, user 2, 3, 4, like that we have. So whoever is the users, whoever is the profile is assigned to the which are the users. If that user is in between the IP range 0 to 255, then only they will be able to access the Salesforce. Otherwise, they will not be able to access the Salesforce. Right? That means it controls the login access at the user level by specifying the range that is allowed between them. Because we are specifying the range based on that IP range, it controls the login access at the user level. Sometimes in the MNC companies, they will do this IP ranges because whenever the person is in the office, then only they should allow them to connect the Salesforce. Otherwise, they will not allow them to connect the Salesforce. So usually it is for the business analyst or if you, whoever is directly working with the client, they should have this kind of a IP ranges, not for the developers. So that's about the IP ranges. Now also we have a few other options which are called as a enable Apex classes, Visual Force, right? So this is our custom data. That means I'm customizing it. Or I'm writing the change. I'm writing it. So when we are customizing it, if do I want this user or this profile should be able to access whatever the logic that is implemented by the developer, does this developer should whatever is implemented by the developer, is this profile should be able to access that functionality or a logic or a business logic should be accessed by this profile or not. Yes, we can decide it by assigning the Apex class, by assigning the Visual Force page. By assigning the Visual Force page. Fine. Now, so this is profile. Most of the information we have covered at the profile. Now in the profile, this is the first view, right? Right now I can see here page layout, standard object page layout, view level, field level security, and then we have a custom field level security, app settings, service provider access tab settings, record type settings, right? Administrative permissions and general user permissions. Then we have a standard object, custom object, like these all options we can see. Now few in the real time, few or you will see different view. So profile has two views. One is in detailed view. Like when you open the profile, you can see all the information here. There is another view for the profile. Now, how do you enable it? Just search here user management. Search here user management settings. Go to the user management settings. In the user management settings, there is one option which says enable or enhanced profile user interface. Enhanced profile user interface. So what will happen here, enhanced profile user interfaces, if you enable this, the view of the profile will be changed. Right now I have enabled. Right now I have enabled this. Now if I click on this profile, this is the first view. Now here, let me take a snipping of this. This is in detail section. Right now I have already enabled it. So I'm going to refresh this. Once I refresh it, the profile view is completely changed. Right, so this is the second view of the profile. So do not get confused if you are able to see this kind of a profile view. Right, there are two type of a profile views are there. One is in detailed information, and the second one is very high level. It is going to give the information here. Now, if you wanted to, in this view too, if you wanted to check the object setting, click on this object settings. In this object settings, you can see all the objects and related fields you can see. Now you click on here, account, the object. Now it is going to show you the fields. What are the field permissions are there? It is going to show you that. Or else if you wanted to go for a administrative or a general user information, general user or admin part of the permissions, and what you can do is you can go for a system permission. When you go for a system permission, you can see all the most of the information will be available here. Right, so edit task, edit topics, edit read-only fields, right? So everything is available here. So if you go to the system permissions, you can see the administrative as well as the general user permission both. Now, in case if you want app permission or Apex class Visual Force, you can go to this particular level. Right, so these are the few things. Now we have this we will cover it later, custom setting and custom metadata. We have not discussed about the custom setting and custom metadata. We will see that later. But this is at the second profile view. Now, so far we have seen the profile and then we have seen the users. Both we have seen. Now, what is the difference between the profile and user? If somebody asks what is the user and what is the profile, we have a single definition. But if I have to compare the profile and user, what is the differences between the profile and user? So profile is nothing but it is a group or a collection of settings or a permission sets that is applied on the, like basically what user can do is decided by the profile. What user can do is decided by the profile. User is nothing but a user is anyone who wants to log into the Salesforce. They should be having a user record should be there. Profile controls the object permissions, field permission, user permission, tab settings, app settings, Apex classes, Apex class access, Visual Force page access, page layout, right? Record types, login hours, login IP ranges, right? These all will be controlled by the profile. Whereas user, every user in Salesforce has a user account. Every user in Salesforce has a user account. The user account identifies the user and the user account settings determines what features and records the user can access. Take a notes of it. Done?
Done, ma'am.
Okay. Now, this is profile and user. Also, we have seen license, right? We have seen another one which is called as a license. Now, what is a license, profile, and a user? User is, so far we know that a user, whoever wants to log in, they should have a user record in Salesforce. Profile, I know that what user can do, what user can do is decided by the profile. Whereas license specifies which feature or which functionality a user can access on the Salesforce, right? Each user should have a associated to the one license. So which functionality can be executed by the user, or which functionality user can access is decided the license. And each user, whenever we create a user, it should be associated to the license. Take a notes of it. Okay. Take your assignments, create a new profile, CEO, read only, copy the read only, whatever we have a read only profile. So copy that read only profile, then copy that read only profile and create a new profile which is called as a CEO. CEO read only, and remove the object access of work type, work order, and entitlement. There are few objects which we have is work type, work order, entitlements. And assign this profile to the system admin user, that you have a system admin user, right? So assign this profile to the system admin user, the one which you created. I just created it, right? I just gave the assignment. So for that user, assign it, create any user, system admin user. Right, create any user which was having a system admin profile. So for that user, just assign this profile and see what else you can access it. So in the profile level, if you go to the tab settings, let's change the settings of this user management. Let's disable this. Now here, user profiles. Now let's go to the profile and the tab setting. I go to the edit option. Now here, profile. In the profile, we have a tab setting. Let's go to the tab settings. Now. So where you can see that override user. Where you can see the override option. This one is whatever the user's personal tab customization is there, right? So they have their own personal tab customization. Now, sometimes what users will do is in the tab section, in the classic, you can able to see that. Now, let me show you that. So in the classic, when you click on this plus button or just customize my tabs. So when we, so we can customize our own tabs. Now, in case if you do not want to customize, if you wanted to override whatever the user tab is there, if you wanted to override, then in that case, whatever the profile level is there. So profile level by default, it will be applied. So anyway, by default, it will be applied, but sometimes what user will do is, user will do their own tab settings. So in that case, they will not be depending on any of the profile level tabs. They will not depending on any profile level tabs. Okay, so it's just overriding the user's personal tab, whatever their own personal tabs are there, if they wanted to override it. We do not use that rarely in the real time, but it's up to the client. Any other questions before we move on to the permission set? Okay. So permission set is, now so far we have seen the user, so far we have seen the user, license, profile, right? User, license, profile. Now license is, should be without license, I cannot create a user. So user and license is tightly bound. Tightly bond. Without a license, I cannot create a user. Right? User and profile is also tightly bound. Without a profile, I cannot create a user. Without a profile, I cannot create a user. Now, profile is a dependent on license. That means based on the license, profile will be displayed. Based on the license, profile will be displayed. So these three connections will be there. Either you are creating a user, whenever you are creating a user, you need to make sure that which profile you are giving it, and that profile is related to which license. That profile is related to the which license it is decided. Now, we have another topic which is called as a permission set. Permission set. Now, permission set is whatever the here profile is going to decide what user can do, right? Now profile is already deciding yet what user can do. Now, do I really need to go for a permission set? Can I not do everything in the profile? We can do everything in the profile. You need not to go to the permission set. That is totally fine. But in the real time, it's not the case. In the real time, what they will say is, they will ask you to create a 3 profiles. They will ask you to create a 3 profiles. Why they need a 3 profiles? Now, the reason for a 3 profiles is, they will say that 3 level of access we have. 3 level of access we have. What is that 3 level of access? One group of people. One group of people will have a access to the account, contact, lead, opportunity. They will have a read access. They will have a read access. Right? Second group of people. There is second group of people. Second group of people. They should have a access to the account, contact, lead, opportunity, and then product. They should have this access, and they should have access to the edit level. Edit level access. Right? And here also product. Now another group of people, they just need a complete access. They need complete access. There is a third group of people here. Third group of people, they need a full access. They need full access. Now, when you have this scenario, usually any developer, when I say any developer who is starting with the Salesforce, career, or who are new to the Salesforce, or who are joined the company, what they will do is simply they will create a 3 profiles. This is one profile, this is another profile, this is another profile. They will create a 3 profiles. But do not do this. Do not create a profiles for everything. For everything, it's not required a profile. Now analyze this. Now this is having a read access. That means very less access this group of people. And this little more access which these people are required. This group of members is required little more access. And the third group of people is required a more access. Required more access. That means full access they need. They need full access. When they need a full access. So this is the level of access which is needed. That means if you compare this, I can create a only one profile. I can create a only one profile. This profile is with the less access. I can create a one profile with less access. That means I can just create a one which is a read access. Which is a read access. Right, so I can create a only one profile with the read access. Now on top of it, I can assign this specific profile. I can assign this specific profile to the everybody. Everybody in a sense, first group, second group, and the third group I'll apply. Only one profile I'll create it and I'll give it to the all 3 members. I'll assign it to the all 3 members. On top of it, we have to create a permission set. We have to create a permission set. Permission set 1, and the second one is permission set 2. Permission set 2. So 2 permission set I have to create it. First permission, we need to assign it to the, which is the edit access. This is the permission set 1, which is the edit access. Permission set 2 is a full access. is full access. Now, so what Salesforce suggests is that Salesforce suggests is do not create a n number of profiles. It's not a good practical or a good developer. It doesn't call a good developer. Create a less access of the profile and extend the functionality of the users by just assigning the permission set. Assigning the additional permission set, extend the access to the user. So permission set is nothing but permission set extend the functionality of the users without changing the or without creating the multiple profiles. Without creating the multiple profiles. Permission sets are extend the functionality of the users without changing their profiles. So that means we have to use the permission set to grant the additional access to the specific user on top of their existing profile. Right? Without modifying the existing profile or without creating a new profile, without granting the additional access to the existing profile, what we can do is we can create a new permission set and we can assign the permission set. So basically permission set controls the object, field, user permission, tab setting, app setting, Apex class, Visual Force. These are the permission set can control it. Take a notes of it. Now here, per license. Now, have you done taking the notes? Take the notes. Okay, so here, how many profiles can be created per license? Now, the limitation for the license, each license, we can create a maximum of 1,500 custom profiles per license. We can create a maximum of 1,500 custom profiles per license type. This is the limitations, but ideally it is a lot more, but in real time, do not create any like a just for a simple change, do not create another profile. For simple change, do not create another profile. So just think over it, whether should we really need a profile or not. Because clients sometimes ask, what is the purpose that you have created another profile? Why did not we go for a permission set? So in that case, so what we have to do is we have to answer. We should be having a proper answer to that. We should be have. So if you have a proper answer, then we can assign the profile to the user. Right? Otherwise, so as per the Salesforce standards, it has to be always permission set has to be created. So create a profile with a less access, then extend the access with access by applying the permission set to the user. Clear? Any questions so far? So we will cover rest of the permission set tomorrow. Take the interview questions. Now,
Swapna,
yeah.
I have one question. Like, we for Salesforce license, we have two administrator, system administration profiles, right?
Yes.
Then that means we can utilize only two system administrator profiles.
No, no, no.
Let's say if
We have a flexibility to create a two users for the
Okay.
Salesforce license profiles. We can create a 1500 profiles.
Okay, two users with that system administrator profile,
Mm,
right?
mm,
Okay, so if I have copied this standard system administrator profile and created a custom profile and assigned it to the user,
okay.
two users, like two users,
Okay.
that means I have utilized the system administrator profile, or I am using the custom administrator profile. What would be like, what would you see in company information, like we have utilized that
So
profile,
we have a Salesforce license, two licenses are there.
right?
So two licenses are nothing but two users we can create it.
Correct.
So already you have a one user with your name, which where it is says that system administrator.
Correct.
Right? So system admin. So in this case, company information, what it says is already utilized is one.
Yes,
Remaining is only one.
one. Correct.
Remaining one. Now you are going to create another profile, which is a custom profile.
Correct.
So when you are creating a custom profile, you can create a N 1500 profiles. There is no issue. More than two also you can create a profile. But if you are assigning this profile to the user,
Mhm.
when you create a user, right now you are creating the second user.
Yes.
When you create a second user, you can either apply to the system admin or you can apply to the custom. Either of one you can apply it.
Okay.
It doesn't matter which profile you are applying it. It doesn't matter. Whether you only the company information just shows that if you have already used this, if you are creating the active user second one, immediately it says that your two licenses are already used. It does not look at whether you have a profile of the system admin or profile of the custom. Only it will check that whenever you created the user, did you use the license of the Salesforce license?
Okay. 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 Got it. Thank you.
Now, interview questions. What are the different profile views available in Salesforce? How admin can change the profile view? And what are the steps? What are the steps that are available? What is the differences between user and profile? What is the differences between user, profile, and license? What are the options? Can admin see when they click on edit button on profile. What is session settings on profile? When client will use it. What is password policies on profile? What is it? Let's say, what is purpose of password policies on profile? What is permission set? When admin can use permission set? How many profiles can be created per license? What are the options controlled by permission set? What is login IP ranges? When admin team will use it, when client will use it? Scenario. If the requirement says, if the requirement, let's say, requirement user should not have access to edit the annual revenue on opportunity. As well as user should not be able to convert the lead. Salesforce license user. Requirement is Salesforce license user should not have access to the edit the annual revenue field on the opportunity, as well as user should not be able to convert the lead. So these are the interview questions. And I'll give you the trial head link. That's all for today.